Like I wanted to name something after the island. It's a small island, and I think it's so like beautiful, and it shaped me in so many ways as a human being, and I wanted to give something back, you know.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we spoke a little over a year ago. I don't know if you remember.
Mm-hmm. I remember.
But it's great to see you, and I can't wait to catch up with what you've done over the last year, I guess. Nobody Loves Me was what you had or coming out last time we talked. So
Yeah, that was a while ago.
yeah. So you got a lot to talk about. So I'm super excited. But if you don't mind, we can touch on a little bit of what you talked about before, because I got some follow-up questions and kind of catch people up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so born and raised on a little island, right in the middle of Sweden.
Yeah, exactly. Island of the Sun, it's called. It's like in the middle of Sweden. It's like a little bit up north, but I would say, yeah, like in the middle of the forest, kind of.
It's in a lake. Is that what I remember you saying?
Yeah, in the lake. You can still drive to the island, so it's not like completely isolated. It's not like you have to take a boat or
Okay,
anything like that.
there's like a bridge that goes out to it or something?
Yeah, there's actually two of them. So sometimes people are like, so like, how is it like going on a boat? You know, and I'm like, I did not go on a boat my entire childhood, but
Okay. So you weren't like, I've actually interviewed somebody they were like in an island off the coast of Canada, and they had to take a boat, like a ferry boat, to get to school and everything. So I didn't ask you this last time, was your school like on the island? Because you said there was what, like 900 people that lived there?
There was like one school I think I went there from when I was yeah, you know, a kid until I was 12 or something, and then I had to take a school bus every day to get to like the bigger city.
Okay, so it would take you across to the bigger city then? Like across the water?
Yeah, exactly. Like went from when I was like 12. So
Okay. I remember you saying the violin was the first instrument you had learned. And how old were you when you did that?
5.
5 was when
Yeah.
you learned violin.
Yeah. My mom she just loved violin, you know, as an instrument. So she really pushed me into like trying, and then she would join me every week to like
Oh,
violin
did she
lessons
try to
together.
play as well? Or she did
Hmm.
play?
Yeah. She wasn't that good.
Did she
But
continue doing it though? Like
she
as
was
much as you
doing
were
it with
doing it?
me. Yeah, she was doing it together with me. So, but I guess you know, it's easier to learn when you're a kid.
Sure.
So I
When did
played violin from I was like 5 until I was 15.
Okay, wow. So you did it for about 10 years. Did she continue lessons for that long as well? Or when did mom go, you know what, I'm
I
done?
think she stopped when I was like 10 or something. I think she went on for like 5 years. Yeah.
Wow. But she
Then
just
she was like, okay.
she was just over it at that point.
Yeah, she was like, you know, all the kids got so much better than the adults. So
Yeah, it's like when you learn a
we
language,
overshine
right?
them.
I mean, the
Yeah.
child's brain just picks stuff up a lot quicker. Um, you
Yeah,
said that
exactly.
you hadn't picked up a violin since last time I talked to you. Have you done it yet? Or like over the past year, have you had a chance to get your hands on a violin at all?
No,
Okay. You told me that you
I
wouldn't do it
haven't.
unless you're like in the
I
middle of the
haven't.
forest.
Yeah. I need to try. I need to try because it's such a cool instrument, and I'm so impressed by people who can play violin. Um I just haven't had the opportunity, I guess, or just,
Yeah.
you know.
You were saying that last time, just that you're very you don't want to mess up, you don't want to be bad at something, so you said you'd have to go to like the middle of the forest to try to learn how to play it again.
Yeah, I think I need to learn to be bad at things as well because it's such a fun challenge. It's like with dancing, like I really want to learn how to dance more. But I think I'm also, it's like the same thing. I'm like, oh, but I don't want to embarrass myself, you know?
Right,
So
but
that's why
you got to start
yeah,
somewhere.
exactly. So yeah, I'm gonna challenge myself and do more things that I'm not good at. It's good.
Sure.
It's a good like challenge, and it's fun, you know.
Hmm. Well, you played piano, what, at 9 is when you started playing piano?
Exactly. Yeah, I was 9 when I started playing piano.
So you were playing piano and violin for 6 years or so, 5, 6 years.
Yeah, I played I still play piano.
Right,
So
right. But like in between there, you were juggling both instruments.
yeah,
Did you
I
play
did.
in the school like orchestra or
Yeah.
anything with
Yeah,
both instruments or just the violin?
um just I think mostly the violin, and then I would play piano like at and sing at like just like every event possible that I could sing at,
Oh,
like,
okay.
you know, when the school year was ending, or at someone's wedding or birthday, or just small events. They would hire me to
Oh, wow. When
sing and play.
when did you realize that you could sing really well? Like how old were you when you began singing?
I think I started singing pretty early on. I would sing like in a choir and stuff.
Oh, really? Okay.
Um, but I don't know if I think I like maybe when I was like 14 or something, when people would tell me like, oh, you know, this is nice, or like they appreciated it, even though I think it wasn't that good, honestly, like listening back. But just like the appreciation of like, I just love the expression. I would sing. I remember one time I sang from my entire school. I was singing I Will Always Love You.
Whoa, that's a challenging one too.
It's such a challenging song. Like, it was probably too challenging for me at the time as well. But I just, you know, I took it on, and I did like a cover of it. Um,
Was that for like a talent show or
no, just for the school.
but yeah, but for this just you just said, you know, I'm gonna do a performance for the school. Like
Hmm.
oh my gosh, wow. Was that the first time you really sang in
I would
front of
do that a
people?
lot. I would
Oh, okay. You do
perform.
that a lot. Okay, never mind.
Um, yeah, no, I did it a lot. Like I was always like a pretty shy kid, but then I would always be the one like performing for everyone. So, and then people would be like, "Oh my God, like who is she?" Because, you know.
Yeah. Was anyone else pursuing music in like on the island you grew up on or in your town?
There's like one guy who was pretty famous in Sweden. He's like on the island. I went to his recording studio when I was um 16. You wouldn't know who it is because it's like very Swedish, but
But
um
still, you went to his studio at 16.
yeah, to just hang out and like, you know, I was really mesmerized by all the instruments and old synths and, you know, his
Hmm.
stories. Um and then I would but like other than that, you know, I never even thought of as of it as like an opportunity to like actually pursue a career in music. I didn't think I was ever gonna have, you know, that type of career, because I could never like see myself doing it because I didn't have anybody else around me. It felt so far away, just like something you see on like TV or read about in books.
Hmm.
And my
Wow.
parents, because my parents really wanted me to like educate myself and to become like a doctor or something like in their field. So,
Uh-huh.
and both my sisters got, you know, they were very well educated and pursuing like very different careers. And yeah, they always like pushed me to like, you need to get good grades and you need to get yourself like a real job,
Oh, so
you know.
academics were important in your house.
Mm, yeah.
What did your parents do, if you
So,
don't mind me asking?
my dad's a doctor,
Oh,
and
okay.
my mom's like a medical school teacher.
Wow. Okay.
And
So
yeah,
that makes sense then. They
yeah,
want you to kind of pursue something like
yeah,
that. But wow. Yeah, then it's like, hey mom,
yeah,
I'm gonna be a musician.
yeah. Like it
Wow.
took them, I think it took them like years to actually, be like, okay, this is something that you can actually do. Like, because it's also like such a weird world to enter
Mhm.
and to like also to explain it to someone who's not in this business. It's even weirder being they're like, so like, are you able to like live on your music? You know?
Right. They're like, let me get this
Yeah,
straight. You just like write songs and that's it. You're like,
exactly.
well, yeah, that's it. Amongst other things.
So,
But obviously, like, yeah,
mm,
exactly what you're saying. It's interesting, especially coming from, a family of doctors. You're in the most kind of un, you know, just definitely a different experience, I would imagine.
yeah, just I mean, I always had music in my house and my parents always like appreciated music and they loved music. They would always like play bunch of records in the house and my sister would sing and my grandma would sing and my grandpa was like playing a lot of instruments. So I had music in the family, but it wasn't like a job really,
Hmm.
you know.
Right,
It was
right.
just something that you do uh more as a hobby or something.
Yeah, sure. You said you went to this recording studio at 16 years old. Was that before or after you had started working on? I remember you telling me last time you had GarageBand on your computer and you would, write songs in your room. Was that before or after you had went and had that experience at the studio?
I think it was like before.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you kind of
Mm.
had a familiarity with recording to some extent before you went there?
Not really. Like just not Um, I don't even remember what I was recording at his studio. I think it was something like really silly, like a cover or something that I did. Maybe probably like a Coldplay cover.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, how did you meet him? Like, how did that even happen? You said he was a
It
pretty
was just like
famous
a
guy.
neighbor.
Oh, he's a
Yeah,
neighbor,
not yeah, like not that famous, but like
but he
in
was
some
right. Was known, and he actually did stuff, right? I mean,
yeah, yeah. But like yeah, he had been touring with some Swedish musicians in his life and and yeah, so that was like my first experience of like a real music studio.
was that something that like lit the fire under you to want to continue to pursue music, or like how did that affect you when you
Definitely.
left? Okay,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
you
it
eventually
did.
moved to Stockholm. What, a couple years
Hmm.
later after that? And
Yeah,
how
when
did
I was 19, I think. Yeah.
what took you to Stockholm? Just the music?
Yeah, I mean, I always wanted to move as soon as I just finished school. So I just wanted to finish school and then move. So yeah, I moved when I was 19 and that's also like when I got introduced to like real, more like real music studios and other people who were working in music. Like, and it was so fun. Like, I remember just sitting there, like in the background, just looking at other artists recording and being like, wow. I was really mesmerized by that entire universe of just like being able to write music and write like use my stories and create art.
Hmm.
I was very drawn to it, but I still had like a lot of jobs just doing completely different things because I needed the money. Like I didn't really have like any money
Right,
to
right.
um
To just sit around in the
so
studio.
exactly.
Right, right, right. Wow. So once you get to Stockholm, like actually real quick, I'm curious because you talked about this a little bit last time, but we didn't touch too much on it. Was that you wrote stories and poetry growing up, and you said they were
Mhm.
pretty dramatic, like to the point where even one of your teachers had to like talk to your mom or something about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I was
Um,
very dramatic.
when did you start writing like Do you remember writing like as an early child? Like when did you
Yeah,
start really writing?
as soon as I could start write, like as soon as I could start writing, I wrote stories basically. In the beginning, they were very short. They could be like, Emma has a friend. Uh, it's her horse, blah blah blah. You know, like really short stories, but they would
Hmm.
always be like stories about something. I remember my mom gave me for my birthday. She gave me a story about a girl, and people were apparently very mean to her, so she would hide in the stable, and she made best friends with one of the horses. So yeah, well,
Oh
I was
wow.
always writing about something. I would like give my teacher like a book because I wrote so much. But I think it was also because I was reading so many books. I was a bookworm like from day one. I was always like, you know, the kid in the corner with a book. I was always like so into the world of books. I just loved reading. So, and I still love reading. So,
Yeah, I was gonna ask, do you still do that now?
yeah, I don't have as much time, but
Sure.
I try to like always, at least like I read books or I listen to a lot of podcasts and I listen to books like in my headphones,
Oh
you
yeah, like
know,
audiobooks. I'm such a huge fan of
audiobooks.
that. Yeah.
So but I just always loved books, and I was really, I was like a huge Harry Potter fan and
Okay.
fantasy. I love like so many different types of books. I guess it came pretty naturally for me to write my own stories.
Hmm. And are you
Um,
still, is that what you still like to read? Or is it like more fantasy novels?
no,
Oh,
not
okay.
I mean, I love fantasy novels still. Like Harry Potter, like I still love Harry Potter and like, you know, those
Hmm.
sorts of stories. But now I like one of my favorite books is Just Kids by Patti Smith.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's her
Yeah.
autobiography, isn't it?
Mm, yeah. And
Yeah.
then I love there's a book by I think it's a German author. It's called The Art of Hearing Heartbeat.
Oh, I haven't heard of
It's
that
really
one.
beautiful. It's really beautiful. And I love Donna Tartt, the Goldfinch,
Oh, sure. Okay.
and you know,
Yeah.
um,
The Just Kids, I have that on as an audiobook. It's great.
yeah, it's so good.
I want to say she reads it, doesn't she?
Uh, I've only read the book, like the
Oh, you've
physical
only
book.
read it. Okay. You're
Yeah,
ahead of me. I'm just like, well, there's too many words. I'm just gonna listen to it. But yeah, no, that's cool. Very cool.
yeah,
I'm huge into the autobiography type stuff, biographies. I love listening, and
yeah,
especially when it's written or read by the author. I'm like, oh, this is so rad. Like so and so
yeah.
reading their life to me is incredible. It's kind
It's
of why I wanted
so
to do this
cool.
podcast.
Yeah, it's so cool because you never really like you see someone, but you never really get to know what their story is and what's under their skin, you know. So it's pretty cool
Yeah, I
to
love it,
take.
especially with musicians. I feel like, or artists that you're like, oh, that person just came out of nowhere, and it's like, they've probably been working at this for 20
Yeah,
years or so many years before that one thing landed for them that you know them for just that one thing. But yeah, I always found that super
exactly.
fascinating.
I
Oh,
think it's
go ahead.
cool. No, it's nice.
Yeah. So you get to Stockholm 19. When do I know you met Derek of Neon Gold. You go to what, this writing camp in Nicaragua or something like that. Like what,
Yeah.
how much later down in your, like how old around were you then? Like how long had you been in Stockholm at that point?
Like they invited me like in January 2017.
Oh wow. So you had been working for a while there, or at
Yeah,
least a little while there.
yeah. And I was like doing things in London and I was trying to meet the right people and just, you know, like you do. Like you meet the right and the wrong people. Like it takes a lot of frogs, like kissing a lot of frogs before you meet the right people.
Sure. Well, you don't know the path, right? I mean, you're just trying to meet people and see how,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and especially like as a woman in this industry, it's so easy to get like in the hands of wolves. Like it's so easy. So I definitely had my share of meeting the wrong people. And then I was, I decided to go on that trip in Nicaragua, just like take a leap of faith. And I didn't know anyone. Like I was just a stranger in the middle of the jungle.
That's
I lost
crazy.
my suitcase. I arrived at the airport and my suitcase was like
Gone.
somewhere in between Sweden and Nicaragua, just gone. I don't know. And it arrived like 4 days later, but I didn't have any clothes. I didn't have anything. So I was pretty like vulnerable, just
Sure.
being at this place with my hoodie and my 10 layers of clothes from Sweden because it was in the middle of the winter in Sweden. So it was pretty special.
Oh my gosh.
and and when I left Sweden, like I was like not in a really good um place in Sweden. I was just everything was kind of black and white, and then I arrived to this place and I was just blown away, and it was just like I could see colors again. Everyone was just so nice, and we were just like a big family, and I was just amazed by the life that I was like able to live, just
Mhm.
writing music and just focusing on that and eating like amazing food and like having great conversations with like-minded people. So it was just a life-changing experience
Was it
for
like,
me.
yeah, I mean, going out there with, no knowledge of anything, not knowing really anyone there, right? Like, tell me,
Mhm.
like, do you just tell your family, like, hey, I got this offer to go to Nicaragua to this musician's writing thing. Like, that's
Yeah,
where I'm gonna
I
be.
mean,
Like, see you
it
later.
was it was weird for them. They were pretty worried.
Oh, sure. And then you get
Um,
there and your suitcase isn't there, and are you like, is this like a
I
joke?
I didn't I didn't get too nervous about it.
Okay.
In the end, it's just like material things. It's not what really matters,
Right.
you
But
know.
I mean, you're there now, right? You're in a whole nother country with people
Yeah,
you don't
but
know
I
and you
had
have
my
nothing.
passport, I had my
Okay.
phone. That's
Yeah, the
important.
essentials. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was. Oh, I thought you were just there with nothing, and you're like,
No, no,
okay,
like it was just like the checked in luggage with all my clothes and
got you. Okay,
my makeup, my skincare, all of that. That
all
is
the
also
important
very
stuff.
like if it would happen to me now, I would probably be a lot more freaked out. But
Okay.
this was before I turned 25, so I didn't have the same like my brain wasn't developed enough.
Okay.
Because
Uh,
honestly, the we don't develop like I don't know how to say like consequence, like the thinking of the consequence until we're like 25. So
I remember hearing something like that. That's crazy.
yeah. And so I think I was just more naive
Mhm.
also, but it was a good thing for me because I just took this big
You took a huge leap.
journey
Like maybe you
and
wouldn't have done that.
hugely. Yeah, exactly. So I'm just grateful for that journey and like just meeting Derek and Sarah and Lissy and everyone. And I was like, oh my God, this is so nice. Like people are so nice.
You
And
also met What's out there too, correct?
exactly. And we recorded that single Beautiful
Hmm.
in the middle of the jungle.
Oh,
So
that was actually recorded there too. I didn't know that.
And it was recorded on a day when the power was out in the entire country. So we just recorded the entire song on a USB mic.
Really? Oh my
Mm.
gosh.
And by the time I was also like in a huge fight with my ex in Sweden. So it was like a horrible day, but the song turned out good. So
But then you put out this beautiful song.
exactly.
Really?
So
Oh my gosh. Wow. When you're at this songwriting thing in Nicaragua, is it like what's the scenario look like? Are you in the middle of the jungle and there's like what cabins that your guys are staying in and kind of just meeting
yeah,
communally in the middle, or like what's it
super
look like?
beautiful, like amazingly beautiful little cabins, or I don't even know if I would say it. It's not really cabins. It's just like uh, it's hard to describe because it's like little cute tree houses almost,
Like little
and
huts?
then there, yeah, like huts, and then there's like music studios in the middle of it. Like it's,
That's
I don't know
crazy.
how to describe it. It was just like that
Surreal.
feeling that I got from being there, and just also like the stars. I've never seen the stars like that. They would just like cover the entire sky from like from when we went down to the ocean. It was like from my feet, like all across. Like it was just crazy beautiful. Like, and I don't even know how to describe that
Wow.
journey. Like it was something else. It's like that feeling that you get in your stomach,
Mhm.
like when you think about a certain place, and it just gives you that feeling. Like I don't know how to describe it. It's just
Mhm.
like yeah, a very happy feeling.
Sure. Like coming back and then having that song beautiful, like I mean that song did amazing things, right? Did that really open the door for a lot of opportunity for you?
I think so. And I also just got a taste of a different life, and I went back home, and I was just like, I'm gonna give this everything. And I worked my ass off to, you know, to just leave the life that I had and to start something new, because I was not in a happy place, and
Mhm.
I needed to things to change. So that was kind of like that journey changed a lot of things for me, not only like in like the musical aspect of it, but also like the personal aspect of deciding to like leave a relationship and just um, take the step into a new life and
Mhm.
prioritize myself and my own needs.
That's great.
So
I mean, so you get
yeah,
back, sounds like you changed your whole life there. I mean, broke up with the
yeah,
boyfriend, I'm guessing. You got home.
horrible. Yeah, I feel bad.
You're like, okay,
Oh my
let's
god,
go. And then do you stay in
it was not
Stockholm?
a hell like
Sorry, I know, I
uh,
was just
it
kidding
was
because
not
you're
a
like,
happy relationship.
you're like,
Like
I'm in
I
a fight with my boyfriend, and then I get home and I just changed everything. So I'm just
oh my
thinking,
god, it sounds like I'm a horrible person. I didn't, yeah.
no, no,
I
no,
was,
no.
it was not a healthy, yeah. Well, yeah, I went. Oh, I should just cut all that up. I went to LA for the first time that summer.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I I decided to go to LA for the first time, and I continued like working with the people that I met in Nicaragua, and then I went to Nicaragua once again in August.
Oh, you did. Okay.
Yeah,
Did you go back with some of the
and
same people?
yeah, some of the same people. Um, and that was also like such a fun uh, trip. I met like Matt Mason on that trip, and yeah, a bunch of great artists.
Wow.
And
Did you record any
then,
songs there the second time around?
um, yeah, I did, but I don't remember if we used any of those. I don't think we did. I think we just
Nothing hit like
created.
Beautiful did. Yeah, for sure.
And then, yeah, then I
Were you signed
decided.
with Neon Gold when you had got back to LA or when you went to LA? Like I would
No,
that
I didn't
conversation.
send. No, they actually like on that second trip, they were like uh they were asking me like, so we want to sign you and we
Oh,
really
wow.
like you. And then I've already started the conversation with Atlantic as well. So
Hmm.
it was like a perfect timing, and yeah, and I decided to sign with both
Yeah.
of them, and they've been the best group of people ever. Like, so yeah, and I decided to move to LA, and I went back to LA, and yeah,
And then you worked with the Chainsmokers at some point in
yeah,
there, and you're even in the video for Hope. Like, was
yeah.
that soon after you got
That
back the second time?
it was like a year after.
Okay. So
So
when you get back and
2018.
so when you signed, were you just working on your own project?
Hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
I was working on my first EP to finish it up.
Okay. And you put
Yeah.
that record out. And then you also put out She, right? She was the next EP.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think last time we spoke, it was Nobody Loves Me, and you put it out for
Yeah,
International Women's Day. And that
yeah,
was a little bit after that, right? After the sophomore EP came out.
yeah.
Okay.
So that yeah, I put out my second EP, and then it's so weird thinking back because it's like weird looking back at COVID, right? I
Right.
was supposed to go on tour like 2 years ago. It's the tour that I'm doing now.
Yeah, with a wonderful, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy, right? I mean, that's what you were telling me last time was that you were about to do this tour. You got all this stuff, lined up, ready to
Mhm.
go, and then it all shuts down. And
Yeah,
then now here we are, 2022. And
yeah,
what, in a couple weeks or not even, what, next week or so, you're going out on that tour finally?
yeah. It's crazy. It's like so many things have happened, and I'm like, wait, it's still hard to like process in so many
Yeah.
ways.
Wow. Wow. And this is your first tour, first big tour?
Yeah, yeah,
Are you
exactly.
excited or
I'm
nervous or?
so excited and nervous. Like, I can't even describe. It's so fun being back at it again. Like, just, finally, like, doing all these things that I was gonna do like 2 years ago.
Right.
And like I'm going on the European tour with Alec Benjamin right after
Yeah, I
the
saw
US
that.
tour,
That's so massive.
and I'm releasing my first album. So yeah, it's like nerve-wracking and so much fun and excitement at the same time. So
Yeah. Have you had a chance to play a live show yet? I mean, since
um
that
I've
tour
I've
got
been
canceled?
playing, yeah, like I've been playing some a few shows in Sweden.
Oh, okay.
So I played one for the royal family in Sweden, like
Wow.
played a couple songs for them at a skiing event in my hometown. And I played at a music gala. Yeah, I've been playing a little bit, so I've been keeping it up, but it's mostly been just me and my pianist. So
Okay.
now it's gonna be like totally different.
With a
This
whole
is gonna be
band?
like more, yeah, this is more like a show.
Oh, wow. So
So
this is all new. Have you been practicing with the band? Like, is that,
yeah,
I'm sure that's got to be a whole different level.
it's gonna be so much fun. Like I am so excited. I flew in here from Sweden a couple days ago, and I went straight into rehearsals.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh my god, this is insane. Like just like what is this my live set? Is this my songs? Like, it's just wild.
So cool. You told me
So I'm
last
very
time.
excited. Like, I don't know if you heard the album. Did you?
Yeah, I did. And I want to talk to you about it if that's cool.
That's
Awesome. Well,
fine.
no, I was gonna say real quick on the last note on the live stuff. You told me because you played on Stephen Colbert during the stay at home thing when the television shows, all the late night shows were streamed online, and you played She the first time you ever did that song like live, right? Wasn't it on television?
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah,
wild to
exactly.
think. So when you get into
Yeah.
so you obviously have enough confidence to just know exactly what you're doing. So are you like when you go out to these first shows with Oh Wonderful, is that going to be a similar like are you going to be just as nervous as you were for Stephen Colbert or not at all because you're ready?
I think it's good to be nervous. I'm always nervous going on stage.
Okay.
But then after a while, it just disappears. Or it does, it's not that it even like disappears, it just transforms into like energy. Like I'm
Mhm.
always nervous. Like I can be nervous just going on an event, like meeting people, because I have like a little bit of social anxiety, and I have
Same
like
here. I
big,
feel you.
and especially after COVID, honestly. No, but I get nervous like all the time about stuff.
Uh-huh.
But I think it's, in a way, it's also helpful because it's making me like, trying my best. If I wasn't nervous, then I would be like in the end, it's like what's the worst thing that could happen,
Hmm.
like
Sure.
forgetting a few words. It's like, yeah, but it's my songs, and nobody really knows, you know, better
Right,
me.
right. Exactly. Exactly.
um so, and I also think it's good to be like a little bit on the edge sometimes and like pushing myself, and because then I know I'm gonna do my best and I'm gonna have fun. And like as soon as that just I get less nervous, it's so nice to just transform that into just like adrenaline and like the energy of the crowd and people. As long as the crowd is nice,
Hmm.
and I'm happy, you
Hmm.
know.
That's awesome. So the record is called Island of the Sun, which is the name of the island you grew up on, essentially, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And that's its translation in English.
Yeah.
So is this record kind of like an autobiography about your life, or like tell me, like why'd you go with that title, and like how did it, correlate into the record?
I just feel like a title is so unique, and it represents me in a way that, the Island of the Sun, the first track of the record, is the first song that I ever wrote about my hometown. And it's not like the album is like an autobiography about me, but it's like all the songs are absolutely like chapters of my life. So
Hmm.
yeah, like in a way. Um, I just felt like going back to that place and like getting to know that place at the core kind of sets the vibe for the entire album. So that's why I wanted it. Like I wanted to name something after the island. It's a small island, and I think it's so like beautiful, and it shaped me in so many ways as a human being. And
Hmm.
I wanted to give something back, you know.
Was any of the record, or was a lot of it written while you were there, or was any of it recorded there at all?
Unfortunately, no, it wasn't.
Oh, okay.
Like at some point I'm gonna build a music studio like at my parents' garden or something. That
That'd
would
be
be really
cool.
nice.
Or knock on
Just
your
like a
neighbor's
little
door and be like, "Yo,
cabin
let me
music
let me get in
studio.
here." I don't know if that
Or
guy
just
still lives there.
some,
I'm kidding.
yeah. Or just like somewhere, close to the island, like in
Uh-huh.
some of like the near areas. That could be so nice, just like by the water.
Hmm.
And I would love that. Or just because I love like just the entire like um neighborhood, and like the areas like around, I don't even, how do you say, county?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
County?
county.
Yeah. So the entire
Hmm.
county is like super beautiful, and it's one of my favorite places to visit in Sweden. It's so
Oh,
peaceful
okay.
in the summer, and it's, a lot of nature, a lot of like good food and locally produced food. So it's really nice
Hmm.
to be there.
That's awesome. And I think last time I talked to you, you were talking about working on this record. So you've been working on it for a little bit now, or were
Yeah.
those songs so those are some of the songs still being worked on from what is coming out?
Yeah. I mean, there's some songs that I'm gonna put on my album that was on my first and second EP. And
Okay.
then there's a bunch of new songs, like you heard, like
Hmm.
uh NDA and um my brain is freezing right now, but yeah.
Like
Bunch of
Jojo. Tell me about Jojo.
Jojo.
That's a
Yeah,
song.
Jojo.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Jojo. It's a song that I wrote to myself, basically. My real name is Johanna, and my nickname is Jojo. So I wanted to write a song about that feeling that you get when you just feel completely lost inside the walls of society and inside the walls of just being on internet and seeing, you know, perfect people living their perfect lives online, and just, you know, being a part of that but still feeling like you're not, and just feeling small in this world and dealing with all the emotions, just about how segregated it is, and how some people can have everything and some people just have nothing, and how we're destroying the planet and we have private skies full of vapor trails, and some people live on the streets, they have nothing, and like, what kind of part do I play in that, and how can I change that? There's only so much you can do. You know, if you don't have the money and if you don't have the power, you know. So
Yeah.
it's just basically talking about a lot of heavy subjects, and for me it also like made me realize what I value in my life. And I think also COVID made me take a step back and just reflect on what I actually value in my life, and how important it is for me to have people close to me that appreciates me for being me, and like who I am, like all the good and the bad, and, you know, having my family close to me and all my nephews, and being close to the nature. Like, I appreciate a lot of beauty, you know.
Because you
That
spent the time you were in Sweden, right, with your family when COVID was happening?
I was half of it I was in LA.
Oh, you were? Okay.
Yeah, and half of it I was on the island with my parents.
Is that what
Um,
kind of sparked some of the themes for the record, was just being home with them?
um Actually, I don't really remember exactly when we started writing Jojo. I think it was before COVID,
Oh,
or
really?
during COVID, maybe. Actually, I don't remember exactly. I need to do
All
a
good.
fact check on myself.
It's all good.
But I think I've always had this feeling, like, especially like being part of this internet-based universe, you know,
Mhm.
it's really weird to navigate sometimes, and it's hard to know what's real, and you know that when you see people online that they don't even look like themselves, like there's so much filters and
Mhm.
shit going on.
Well, yeah, it's like
And
it's like looking in a magazine years ago. It's like these are so airbrushed up and,
yeah,
photoshopped, and like now it's like no one's gonna post their real life on their Instagram feed. It's gonna be the best
exactly.
pictures of them, only the
Yeah,
cool things they're doing are they're sharing with everyone. It's not, oh man, I had a horrible day today, let me just post a picture of how terrible I was doing. Like, it's
and
always just
also, yeah, and also just like with TikTok and everything, and everyone's just trying to get famous. Everyone's trying to get viral.
mhm.
It's pretty sad looking at younger people and like what they want to do with their careers. Wants to be like influencer nowadays. Nobody wants to be a doctor anymore.
Yeah, right.
Um,
It's weird. I have a 14-year-old son, and that's all their friends. It's just all about TikTok and this and followers and likes, and they create
mm,
like jumping on these trends, and it's like, oh my goodness. Like, I'm so happy I didn't grow up in the age of even having a cell phone and like a camera like that
I
accessible. Like, it's
remember,
crazy.
I remember when I was like, I got my first phone pretty late, and it didn't have a camera, so I would pretend that it had a camera. I would play, and I
Play
would be
like
like,
you
look
had a
at this
camera.
picture I took of you. Yeah. I didn't have
Oh,
a camera.
I'm trying to think. Like, I don't think I had a phone that had a camera until I was much older. Obviously, I got, yeah, yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to disclose my age, but like when the phones came out that I had, there was definitely no camera on it or internet accessibility or anything like that. But wow, I know it's wild. I was interviewing somebody earlier today, and just the perception of like, or just like this whole metaverse and everything there is so crazy to think, right? Like you could be
Yeah,
going to a show of some influencer with a million people of their following that you're basically I'm sitting in this room wearing goggles and like paying to be at
yeah.
some concert. Like it's so crazy.
It is pretty wild. It's like weird.
Yeah. It
I just yeah. And it's hard like, because we're only so small. Like
mhm.
we're just particles in the universe. So what can we do?
Yeah. So wild. So wild. Well, at least you get to be around real people, real humans. You're doing two amazing tours. You have your record coming out. Like a lot of big things have happened in the past, since I talked to you last, like a year ago.
Yeah, crazy things, right?
So
I'm not
cool.
s-
So cool.
I'm not just sitting in my house anymore.
Right. Well, you were saying last time that you weren't a fan of the Zoom songwriting session. So I'd imagine that this record was all done in person.
Oh yeah, not a single song was created over Zoom. I
That's
can
good.
assure that. Yeah.
And working with, you also said that there was only 2% of pr- producers are female.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy to think? And then it's just like I was thinking about that, and I bring that up quite a bit in other interviews because I didn't know that fact that you told me, and it's like so interesting to me that I have a Mac and I have GarageBand on it, and I could tell anyone that I'm a producer just because I can throw some pre-made loop into my thing, right, and into the timeline, and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm a producer." I could download a thing off of YouTube, and no one would. People don't question it as they would with. I feel like females have such a harder time cutting through in that regard.
Yeah. I think honestly we have a hard time with as like everything. Like we
Sure.
have so much more pressure on us. Just looking at the pressure that we have to perform on stage,
Mhm.
and versus a man, he can just stand up with like his baggy clothes and the guitar, and everyone's gonna worship him. uh,
Right. I
and
didn't even think about
and
that either.
and a woman needs to be sexy. She needs to know how to move. She needs to have the perfect makeup. She's gonna be judged anyway, but there's so much more pressure on us, and just the body image, just like society in general. So I just hope
Mhm.
that it will change. That's like why I love artists like Lizzo so much. Like I think she's
Oh,
changing the game
yeah,
for a lot of
right.
artists,
And she's
and
brilliant. Her
and
voice
she's
is
brilliant.
incredible. Yeah, and
Yeah,
her
she's
lyrics are
incredible.
just so good. Like, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
and she knows that like how to move, but
Right,
just
right.
like that the pressure, just like the pressure they put on women, and like the way that there's always they will always talk about us differently, and I just want it to change. I don't want to see any magazines of like zoomed in photos of like women's imperfections. I'm
Mhm.
just tired of it. I don't want my kid to grow up in that type of world whenever I have one.
Sure. No, I completely agree with you. Was that important when it came to putting this record together? Like, did you hire more females to work on the album? Because I think you said that with the song that came out, obviously on International Women's Day, that you had it produced by a female.
Yeah, it was all done by females, that record. Unfortunately, no, the album is
Okay.
not. Like it's probably also like a lot of percent. Like I think it's like only male producers.
Oh, okay. I didn't
Um,
know if that was
but
like a theme you're going for, but that's cool.
no,
That's amazing you
I
did that
don't
on that
like,
one record, though.
yeah, I just worked with people that I love and appreciate,
Hmm.
and I have a lot of female writers on this record, like, um, but unfortunately, no female producers. There's one
Okay.
song. Oh, there's one song that I did with a female producer. Yours Tomorrow. That's all female.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay.
And that's like one of my favorite songs. So
Incredible. Well, again, congratulations on all the amazing things that you've done over since the last time we spoke. I can't imagine where you'll be next year. You know what I mean?
yay.
And that tour finally getting rescheduled, and then doing the Alec Benjamin tour coming up as well. Like, I wish you all the luck. And I love the songs I've heard off the record so far, and I really appreciate your time hanging out with me again. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I have one more quick question for you. I asked the same question to you last time before we left, but I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Be careful with people who promise too much, and make sure that you don't sign anything that's like, don't give away your soul. That's like one of the most important things, I think, just to be careful that you work with like really good people, and that people actually want what's best for you, because you really got to make sure that you don't put yourself in a position that you're going to regret it like a few years later, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And that, you know, I think that's something that we don't say enough to new artists. Then they just sign away their entire soul. And then, of course, be yourself and all that. But they already know that.
Don't quit and work hard. Sure.
Yeah. Everybody works hard.
Bringing it backward.